say. No, haha. I knew somebody would find the loophole, but no. That's too easy. That's too easy. No. All right. I'm recording. Now I need to share my screen.
Hey,
yes, sir.
You telling us this because of how you see we submitted our notes last night?
Yeah, y'all did it. I mean, no. I haven't graded your notes yet. I will. And I plan on doing it right after this class. I should have done it before, but y'all don't even know how many little interruptions I had today between my last class and this class. I'm sure your notes were fine, though. And I get, like, it's smart, right? Take a picture of it, boom, done. But then your brain, there's something that happens, Ty, when you write the information down, it encodes in your mind. So, yeah, that would be easy, though. All right, let me get Lola a picture here. Then I'm going to fuss at Lola later.
Are you about to fuss at me?
I'm going to fuss at I fuss all the time. If I didn't fuss, I ain't. Yeah, I was going to say, hey, where you at? Because I was going to wait for you to get here before we got really started. Okay. So what I was saying a minute ago, and some people are already jotting, and that's fine. If you want to reproduce it exactly like I have it on the board, awesome. You can see it's numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And the colors are related together. If you want to put it on white paper and use color, great. I'll bring them to you if you don't want to get up. If you want to do it on your computer I want you to do whatever you want to do. If you want to do this and make it in a list rather than bubbles, as long as you reproduce the information on here in a way that makes sense to you, that's what I want you to do. But I'm going to kind of walk you through it. Now, this is what I want to do. Let's say Anthony. This is what I want to do, Anthony. I want to give you this information without really explaining to you why I'm giving you this information. We'll just skip that boring part. And I'm just going to tell you, then we're going to break it down into pieces. Okay. So, of course, you're going to be writing sentences in here, right? You got to write a bunch of sentences in here to make these essays up. And I promised Newt the other day that I was going to teach you how to generate word count without struggling to generate word count. But let's just talk about the sentence here, because this is where you miss your points at, and that's making complete sentences and putting commas in the right place and all that stuff. All right, so number one, the core of the complete sentence is called a main clause. The main clause. That's the core. You have a whole bunch of words in your sentence that don't make up the main clause. But this is number one right here. The core of the complete sentence is the main clause. So you can have a whole bunch of words in a sentence, and they may be doing all kinds of things in there, but you got to identify and say, okay, let me make sure I got a main clause before I go on to this next sentence. Now, one thing I need you to know, so we're speaking the same language, is that main clause and independent clause, they basically mean the same thing. They mean the same, pretty much. If you asked me to tell you what the difference was right now, I couldn't tell you. And why we have so many terms for the same thing, but it's back there on the board too. All right. So we got our main clause. We know we've got to identify a main clause. And Ray's just thinking, well, I hope she tells me what a main clause is so I can try to find it. I'm going to. It's going to take me a few days to get all that in, but we're going to do it slowly, a piece at a time. Now you're starting to figure out and try to find out if you have a main clause. The core of the main clause is the verb. I know you've heard that word before, verb. Verbs can be kind of deceptive. They'll try to hide from you. You usually think of when you were back in third grade and all that, is the verb is the action word in the sentence. What is somebody doing? I'm walking around waving my hands up in the air. Raja is writing. Is writing. That's her. That's that verb. Now, so you're looking for that main clause. You found your verb. Now, every verb for you, as far as you're concerned in this class, when you're writing, every verb has to have a subject with it that you can actually see. Subjects. The subject is who's doing the action. Raja is writing. Raja is the subject. Is writing is the verb. Raja is the actor. Is writing is her action that she's doing. But you know, all sentences aren't 3 words long. Some of them are like this big. But we'll get to that. So every main clause is going to have a verb, and every verb is going to have a subject. So that's where you get this term of subject-verb relationship. And just like I'm in a relationship with my husband, we are in a relationship, we are partners. Those 2 words, the subject and the verb, not always 2 words, sometimes it's 1 words, but whatever. The subject and the verb are in a relationship together. They are working together to bring meaning. What happened and who did it? Who did it? Raja. What did she do? Is writing. Subject-verb relationship. This prevents you from writing fragments, and make sure you have your subject-verb agreement stuff right. It will help you get your commas in the right place. It's probably not clear right now. It's like the lights are off right now, but I'm going to slowly turn the lights off. So if you just trust me and come along with me, I'll get you there. Just follow me. You don't know where you're going, maybe, but just follow me. All right. So let's go right here now. We're in the purple. See, looking for this complete sentence. Trying to hunt down that main clause that's got the subject-verb relationship in it. But what you got to know is that complete sentences are made up of independent clauses and dependent clauses. That's where it starts getting tricky real quick. Complete sentences are made up of independent clauses and dependent clauses. Then it gets even trickier. And it's not fair. Because independent clauses contain at least one subject-verb relationship, and here's something nobody's ever been able to define. It's a complete thought. Now, when I say a complete sentence is a complete thought, that doesn't mean you told me that whole story. You went to town, you got your hair cut, you stopped by the Mexican restaurant and got some tacos and burritos, and you saw your ex-girlfriend and whatever happened after that. That's the whole story. A whole story is made up of lots of sentences. Each one of those sentences has to be complete. I went to town. When I got to town, I got my hair cut. After my haircut, I went to the Mexican restaurant. While I was at the Mexican restaurant, saw my ex-girlfriend, whatever. So one sentence, those are all complete sentences. So, what is this complete thought idea? But that's how they define sentences. Okay. Contains at least one subject-verb relationship and is a complete thought. That subject-verb relationship's in that main clause, right? But look at dependent clauses. They also have subject-verb relationships on them. But they're not complete for some reason. That's kind of messed up, isn't it? A dependent clause is a fragment. So if when you kind of get your eyes and get to a little break, if you'll look back here. We ate pizza for lunch since we had so much left over from the party. Okay. This part is your main clause. That's the complete sentence part of the sentence. It's got a subject and a verb in it. We ate. Who did it? We. What do? We ate. Right? An action and an actor and an action. And the second part is the dependent clause. We had. We got a subject and a verb in it too. But it's a fragment. If you put a period right here, and a period, you would have had, that's a minus 10 point error. That's why you gotta know independent clauses and dependent clauses. That's gonna help you know whether you need a comma here or not, you don't. But I know it's dark right now, but I'm gonna try to bring the light in a little bit at a time. Make sure you date stuff, so today is 1/12. That way, like today, the internet was messed up and they couldn't turn their work in. Yeah. So if sometimes it might take you a day before you can turn in today's work, and we'll have already done more work. So it's under 112, and you might submit more than one document to the same place. So now we're about to switch to something else. I didn't put ticket out today on there because I wasn't sure if we would get to that last thing, but I don't think we're going to get to that last thing. So I'm pretty sure we're going to finish up with these little workbook exercises. Everybody got, that's all good?
No.
No, it's not all good.
I can take a picture and you put it down.
Sure. Let's see if I can turn that off for you. There you go. Let me see what it says. Yeah, it's going to be notes 112. Yeah, it says notes 112 and then page 43, 45. I think that's where we're going to get to in the book.
Okay, I'll just wait for you.
It's cool. You can submit it all at the same time. All right, so now I'm in as soon as it pops up, I'm in the Cengage textbook, and you don't have to have it open, Zariah, so I'll show you how to get to all that stuff. Okay. But it's going to be up here anyway. You can write down whatever you want to write down for notes. But if I really want you to write something down, I will tell you. I promise. I won't make you guess. And sometimes I'll get something a little different from Ty that I get from Zay, and that's okay too. I can tell when you were writing what you were, you were doing your best to get what I wanted you to get. All right, parts of speech. So we looked at the big thing, which was the complete sentence. Now we're going to take the sentences apart one piece at a time. Because when Raja is in this classroom, she's my student, right? That's the job that she's doing right now. But when she leaves here and she goes to work or something like that, or she goes and hangs out with her best friend, then she's being best friend. She's not being my student anymore. She's still my student out there somewhere, but right now she is not being best friend. She is being my student. And when she leaves me and she goes to, then she's being, so she can do different roles, but she still looks exactly like Raja. She does not change anything. So the same thing can happen with words in a sentence. So if you see the word left up there, make it just a little bigger. So this sentence, turn left at the stop sign, left is an adverb. I don't talk about adverbs a whole lot. She writes with her left hand, which hand? Now the word left is an adjective. It looks exactly the same though. You're mostly concerned with subjects and verbs. I left her a message, now it's a verb. Same exact word though. So it just depends on what the word is doing in the sentence. Now if that word is in a relationship with a noun, with a subject, then you're looking at a subject-verb relationship, okay? If it's being an adjective or an adverb or whatever, most of the time you don't even care. It's just, you're just going to go right on about your business. It's not going to cause any problems. It's just subjects and verbs that we're mostly worried about. But you got to know a little bit of something about the other things so that you know, okay, I'm not looking at a noun, I'm not looking at a, so you can identify those subjects and verbs. All right. So just kind of look at these words, get these words remembered from back in the day. Nouns, pronouns, right? Adjectives that describe, adjectives only describe nouns and pronouns, and that's it. They can't describe anything else. Nope. Then you got your verbs. Those are very important. That's the core of the main clause. Now adverbs, they're kind of like adjectives, but they really describe verbs. They don't describe nouns and pronouns. Prepositions, big, huge deal. Prepositions, nouns and verbs. So I got a list, and I've got these lists and things for you to use whenever you're writing so that you can identify those prepositions, hugely important. And then the conjunctions. All different kinds of conjunctions. You got subordinating conjunctions, and you got the fanboys. Y'all heard the word fanboys before? For, and, nor, and all that. Okay. So let's look at nouns and pronouns real quick. You've been knowing this definition your whole life. Person, place, thing, or idea. It's the idea, though, that's hard to deal with. If a word, and you may want to write this little pink stuff down right here. You label it however you want to. But if a word ends in NESS or TION, it's a noun. The word happiness is a noun. Your happiness is important to me. It really is. Your happiness, your comfort. Now, comfort doesn't sound like a noun, does it? But it is. If you can own it, that's the second little trick right here. It's a noun. My situation is hopeless. I hope nobody ever has to say that, but it's my situation. It belongs to me. If I can own it, it's a noun. If I can count it, it's a noun. I have 4 staplers. One of them's broken, but we won't talk about that. I came back to my classroom one day, my stapler was broken. I was like, I can't have anything. But anyway, if I can count it, it's a noun. So stapler is definitely a noun. If it ends in NESS or TION, here's another trick to identify nouns. Hold on, I got off my little page there. There are 3 articles, a, an, and the. If you see a, an, and the in front of a word, you might be looking at a noun. That's going to be important in a minute because you got to identify 25 nouns in this little paragraph. I'm going to help you though. I'm going to help you. Now, if you just have the word man in a sentence or something, it's not the first word in the sentence, you don't have to capitalize that. I have a student named Chubbs. I don't know if y'all know him. Yeah. Y'all know Chubbs? But this is his name. So then we're going to capitalize it because it's his name. That's what he goes by, Chubbs. All right. So proper the name of something like if you go to Pilgrim's, the grocery store in DeKalb, it's capitalized. But just grocery store, you don't capitalize that. Only the names of things. Okay. Collective nouns in American English, they're usually counted as singular. That'll be important later. In British English, a lot of times they'll switch it back and forth, but usually we count them as singular. This is that a, an, and the again. Remember that. I bought a Ferrari. I didn't, but a, and there's that noun right there. Now you can also, remember I said a minute ago that adjectives only describe nouns. Adjectives are descriptive words. Red is a descriptive word, right? So it's pointing to that noun right there. All right. Zaria's like, is it really this easy? It gets harder. We're just building a little foundation right here, right now. Waking up some old stuff from back in the day. We're not talking about phrases right now. So, no. You don't have to, you can. Now the yellows are, I'm glad you said something though. The yellow has answers in it to the scavenger hunts. Don't let me forget to show you that. Okay, so you got two things to remember now. Teams and scavenger hunts. All right. Now we're going to switch over to something. I put the first one on the 16th, and that was really just so it would pop up on your to-do list. So it's not going to lock at this point. And you done did it. Was it easy? Pretty easy? Yeah. It's not supposed, it doesn't have to be hard. It's not supposed to be hard. It's just a study. That's all. Awesome. So you know these words already. These words I'm saying they're there, floating around in there, right? They might not be attached to anything, but that's okay. We'll get them attached. All right, number your paper from 1 to 10. You can do it on the same piece of paper or whatever. And you can label it 11A. And number your paper from 1 to, we're not writing whole sentences. We don't have time for that. It's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. We don't have time to write whole entire sentences. Anything I ever do, if you want a copy of, if I can get it for you, I will. All right, so we said if you can count it, it's a noun. If it's a person, place, thing, or idea, it's a noun. If it ends in T-I-O-N, noun. You can own it, noun. Okay. All right, and number 1, you have 1, 2, 3 nouns. 3 nouns. People. And it's okay to be wrong in here too. If you were right about everything, you'd be doing brain surgery this morning at UAB. You're here to learn. And part of learning is being wrong. 8 is going to be, now this one is going to be an adjective describing hours. Hours is one, because you can count them. So hours, and there's one more. Sleep. Now, look, I don't know exactly how to explain this right now. I probably have to go study something. But in number 2, can y'all see those? I can make that darker. Hold on. My highlight button at. I'll make it a different color. A little bit darker. Now I want you to stick this in your brain too. So you say we got 3 nouns in that sentence, right? And we said that subjects are always nouns or pronouns. You're going to have a bunch of nouns and pronouns in a sentence, but they're not all going to be subjects. So you're not always worried about what every noun in that sentence is doing. You just got to identify which one is the subject. And the one that's the subject is going to be the one doing the action on the verb. The rest of them, just ignore them. They're fine. Let them do what they're doing. Okay? You just got to identify the subject and the verb, and we're going to get there. All right, so that's 3 verbs right there. I mean nouns, my bad. Now in number 2, there's only 1 noun. That's it. If something's ever bothering you and you want to further, clarification, tell me. Sometimes if I don't know, I'll just tell you I don't know. I don't know everything. And number 3, you got 1, and we're not looking at pronouns like he and she and all that. We're just looking at nouns. You got 1, 2, 3 nouns. Look at y'all. Look at you. It's his life, right? He owns it. If you can own it, it's a noun. Number 4, you've got 2. Now, number 4 is tricky. Number 4 is tricky. Night is one of them. It is. If you can own it, it's a noun. Now, living looks like a verb all day. Those ing words, it looks like a verb all day, but if an ing word, I will say this about 200 times at least. If an ing word does not have a be verb with it, it is not verbing. Am, is, are, was, were. If an ing word does not have a be verb with it, it is not verbing. And most of the time, you don't really care what it's doing. It's not getting in the way of anything. Okay, so that's 2. Good job so far. Boom. Number 5. One noun. That's it. They can't hide from you. Because there's that article right there. Pointing right at that noun. Number 6 has 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Perfect. A little trickier, you know, in your own writing, but maybe I'm getting a little better at what I'm doing, and it won't be such a challenge this time for me to teach it. All right, number 7, 2 nouns. And all right. Number 8 has 2. Mm-hmm. Number 9 has 1, 2, 3. Has 3. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm glad to say it. That's why I like it when you. That's good. I want to. Rest is the 3rd one, but I want to be able to repeat myself on something. This one right here. We looked at that ing word. It's got a be verb with it. If it's got a be verb with it, it's verbing. You can count on that. Am, is, are, was, and were. Be verbs. So thank you for saying that. Wrong or right, we're going to learn something from whatever you call out. Okay. Number 10. 1, 2, 4. There's 4 nouns. Mm-hmm. Think about, remember what I said? Remember what I said about the TION? Definition. Mm-hmm. You're right. Keep going. But it doesn't look like a noun, right? Because you can't hold it. It seems like it'd be an adjective or something describing something, but it's not. If you, my inspiration, I will give you my inspiration, or I had inspiration. If you can have something, it's a noun. Just don't even question it. It's a noun. If you can own it. See, that's part of learning, is convincing your brain that you know what you're talking about. Because your brain will be like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what this stuff is, but you can learn this stuff. You can do it. We're just going to build it a little piece at a time. Don't let me go faster than what's comfortable for you. I'm always on fast forward though. I drink a lot of coffee in the morning, sometimes too much. And I'm always like super stoked to see y'all. And because I don't get to talk about grammar with anybody but y'all. And what's your thing? What do you like to do? It's got to be something country. I know it is. It'd be like riding horses or shooting guns or 4-wheelers or what's your thing? 4-wheelers, right? So you can tell me all about 4-wheeler riding and trail riding and all them stories and adventures and stuff you've done. That's how I feel about talking about grammar. But nobody wants to talk about grammar with me. Y'all don't even really want to, but y'all kind of got to listen. All right, so I'm pretty stoked, but don't let me go too fast because I'm getting so into it. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about is verbs, but Raja, in the meantime, while we're talking about verbs, we're going to kind of hit on a couple of little things in the middle. All right, so we talked about a, and the, that they'll point to nouns. All right, you got these things called phrases. Now, there's all different kinds of phrases. But I'm going to tell you this. I could say Nuke and Kat and Anthony, 3 men, right? I say, could y'all get that board and drag it out to the hallway for me? That'd be 3 men doing one job. One job. That's 3 men doing one job. Well, just like 3 men can do one job, 3 words can work together to do one job. They're serving as one part of speech, a noun. Don't worry about that right now. Just believe me when I say that 3 or 4 words or 5 words or whatever can work together to be one part of speech. It's really important when you're talking about the verb phrase. Should, have, been, studying. That's all working together to be your verb. All right. Remember pronouns. Just kind of glance at those and soak them in. Remember your pronouns. I, me, he, she, all those words, little words, they're pronouns. Remember, subjects are going to be nouns or pronouns. So when you're looking for that subject, you might be looking for one of these words. They don't look like much. They're tough. The word it will hide from you as a subject, but it can be the subject of a sentence now, so don't forget that. All right. Oh, man, these little things right here. Nuke, you don't know. You got to use these words. You can't avoid them, but they will mess you up. We're going to fight them and we're going to win. But they will try to mess you up, okay? So soak those in for a minute. Anybody, everything, if it ends in one, body, or thing, all those can be subjects of sentences. They can be anywhere in the sentence, but they can be subjects. Indefinite pronouns. Oh, man, then you got these pronouns. Oh, my gosh. So I can say, Nuke, could you pick up, because I'm a girl, I'm used to asking men to do pick up stuff for me all the time. I say, hey, Nuke, can you pick up that box for me? That, it just is describing which box. There may be 10 boxes, and I want him to pick up that box, okay? So that's being an adjective in that sentence. But then Nuke might respond and say, that is too much, Miss Pendergrass. All right, now the word that's being a pronoun. So it depends on what the word is doing in the sentence, okay? If it's in the relationship with a verb, it's being a subject. I'm here to help you with that, though. All right, here we go, Zay. Here we go. Dependent clauses. Didn't we just say dependent clauses a minute ago? We said dependent clauses. These words will help you know if you're looking at dependent clauses. This is not the last day we'll talk about it. We're just kind of exposing it. That's all. All right. We're getting close to the end. All right, adjectives. Adjectives can only describe nouns or pronouns, so that'll help you know if you're looking at a noun or a pronoun. That's the main reason you need to know whether it's an adjective or not. And they tell how many friends do I have? 4, 50, or whatever. What color is it? Blue. What kind? What kind of ice cream do you want? Chocolate, right? Vanilla. What kind? These words describe. They tell how many of something. 15. The adjective can come after the word is describing too. It don't have to come in front. Sometimes it's at the other end of the sentence. All right. This is what I'm trying to get to right here. This is the last thing we're going to do today. I may talk just a little bit longer after this. I got done a little faster than I meant to, but that'll give me time to show you those things. Okay. Verbs. So the core of the main clause is the verb, right? You with me, Gentry? Making sure you with me. Because the core of the main clause, if you don't know the core, this is the game's lost before we even get started. The core of the main clause is the verb. But verbs don't always look like verbs because life is not easy, unfortunately. In no kind of way have I ever seen it be easy. It's just not. Now, some verbs are easy. Jump, sing, play, sleep. I can see all these things happening. Stretch. Gentry's back there stretching. Gentry is stretching. All right. Gentry stretches. Gentry stretched. Gentry is the actor or the subject. The verb is stretched. He did something. Subject, verb. Jumped, understood. That's easy. You know, I did something. Now, what did I do? I understood something. But write these down, please. Right here. Those are verbs too. They're a different kind of verb. We don't care really what kind they are. But if you see one of those words in a sentence, and there's 23 of these types of these little words right here, like has, have, and had, those don't look like verbs. Do, does, and did, those go in that list too. I'm going to give you a list of them. You see those little words like that, they will pair up with another verb like this. Let's see. I got two verb phrases in this little thing right here. These two are working together. It's my two men doing one job, right? Those are two little verb phrases. There's my helper and my main verb. Okay? They're working together to be a verb phrase. See, a verb can be one word. He loves. Oh, I gotta tell you something. If a word has to in front of it, it's not verbing. That to eat, it looks like a verb. Just like living a minute ago looks like a verb, but it's not verbing. It's doing something else. We don't care what it's doing. But just know if it's got to in front of it, it's not verbing. And if it's an ing word, but it doesn't have am, is, are, was, or were with it, it ain't verbing. Okay. Number your paper from 1 to 10. Yeah, 1 to 10. And this is going to be 14A. You can do it on the same piece of paper. I don't care how you organize your stuff as long as it looks neat and I can tell what I'm looking at. Make sure you date things. Today's the 12th. Proud of you, Ty. Did you make hundreds on those quizzes? Awesome. Man, that's a good start. Because, you know, by the time midterm rolls around, we're all going to be dragging and tired. So it's important to get as much foundation built now to get us through those last few weeks of school after that midterm. Is this your first semester in school? Second? Midterms. You probably heard of them back before college. It's a real thing. We are dragging and worn out. Be ready to fight people. It's like, don't even talk to me today, Miss Pendergrass. I can't today, not with you. But anyway. All right. So in number 1, you've got one word that's the verb.
All right.
It is. Now I'm going to go just a step further. You don't have to write this part down, but who did the arriving? The crowd did. All right. Who did it? What did they do? Who did it is the subject. What did they do is the verb. And it's not always a person. All right. One word is the verb in number 2. Who did the playing? All right. Give everybody a second to kind of look at number 3. All right. What's my verb in one word? Number 3. That's it. And who did it? That's it. Very good. Now these are easy. It'll get harder. What's our verb in number 4?
Rain.
And who did it? Awesome. All right. Give me just a second. Think. Y'all got it. Y'all fast. And who did the dodging? All right. Now, this is a little trick in number 6. It's not really a big deal. If you were doing online quizzes, which we don't do a lot of, it would matter. It doesn't matter to me. But not is an adverb, so just ignore it. Just ignore it. All right. Now, what you got 2 words making the verb this time. And what goes it? Effectively, I'm glad you said that. And somebody said it last class too. Effectively actually does tie to the verb. It's an adverb. Okay? But it's not part of, it's not verbing. But there's a little bitty word, a helping word. What's the other word that goes with block?
However. No. Take.
Did. Did. It's one of the, it's one of those little bitty verbs like do, does, did, has, haven't, had, and all that stuff. You're doing good. Now, who did the blocking? I want one word. Team. You do good. You're doing great. Doing great. This is a descriptive word, and like I said, if it was software, it would matter. I don't care. I just want you to know that that's a descriptive word, and this is the main word that's the subject. It might matter in some cases when you're doing your own writing. All right. 2 words, that's the verb in number 7. All right. Very good. And 1 word, this who's doing the defending? Team. Everything else is
The team.
That's it. There we go. All right. Number 8, 2 words is the verb. Very good. Very good. And who did the scoring? Sarah Chang sure did. All right. Number 9 is not, don't let it throw you off. It's a little different. But 1 word is the verb. Right. That's it. Often is an adverb that tells when they practiced. And you got 2 words that's who's doing it. She and Lena. So you could have 10 or 15 people doing something. That's still going to be the subject. Whoever's doing it, that's the subject or subjects. You can have multiple subjects. You could have one person's arrived, practiced, cleaned her room, went to the cafeteria, talked to her friends. She did all those things. So you could have Zariah doing a whole bunch of things. All right. Is it Zariah or Zaria? Zaria. I always change it. I don't know why. All right. Now this second, then the number 10, I told you it was going to get a little tricky sometimes. But I don't like tricks. Okay? So I'm going to get rid of this right here. Nothing in the prepositional phrase can ever be the subject of a sentence. Never. It will never be the subject of the sentence if it's in a prepositional phrase. It's going to look like it, but it's not. All right. This is a prepositional phrase, and this is a prepositional phrase. So that's gone too. So just ignore that. Now, what you see here, Zay, once I get rid of the prepositional phrases, almost all I got left is the subject and the verb. Okay. So what 2 words to my verb? All right. Now don't fool your own self. Who did the suggestion? The suggesting? Don't let it mess you up. Many. There we go. That's the only word that can be the subject. I know it doesn't seem right, but you know in your mind knows who did the talking. It was the friends. Right? They're the friends that did it. But the grammatical subject is going to be many, because nothing in the prepositional phrase can ever be the subject of a sentence. Never. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. Dang, I hate to let y'all out of class early. Just before I let y'all go, number 1, when I let you out like this kind of early, you can stay as long as you want to.
Do I work?
What, baby?
I said, I thought you were going to say we got to do our work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one thing, when I let you out this early, you got to be quiet when you leave this building. You got to kind of slide out and don't be hooting and hollering and, all right?
I'm
Okay.
on the class still.
All right, and then you need to bring your behind to class. Now, this is not an online class, but I'm glad you are attending
I
virtual.
know.
You can tell me later. You can tell me
like,
later.
okay.
Tell me later. Okay, I just want to give you a little peek in case you want to, in case y'all want to look ahead. Don't forget now, Anthony, before you can open up this assignment right here, you don't have to do it. But before you can open it, you got to click on these things that say view in the module up above it. This is what we're going to work on tomorrow. But it doesn't hurt to kind of open stuff up and look at it and get a feel for what's going on. Okay, but you don't have to do it. We're going to do it. I think we're going to do this in class tomorrow. All right. Y'all be
You
quiet.
did say we could get a step ahead of our work.
Absolutely. You're welcome to attempt
Yes,
anything that's open. Do it. If it's open, try it.
Trying to turn in my notes and I can't put it on one picture.
There's a little thing, it should say add document, add document, add
Another file.
yeah, add another file, that's what it is. Or you can resubmit, and it'll add several documents. It's usually just naughty kids that I look at their stuff. When I know you're a good kid, and most of my kids are good and they do everything I ask them to do, but every once in a while I have somebody that wants to try me, and I gotta look at all their stuff. Bye, darling. All right, babe. All right, Kat. All right, Lola. I'll see you when I see you.
okay.
All right.